Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the online roundtable on the state of user-centricities. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. My name is David Osimo. I'm Director of Research at the Lisbon Council. And today I'm here also representing UserCentriCities, which is a consortium of 27 partners working together to help cities to improve their digital services and to share best practice and to share metrics. And this is what we are going to talk today. We now have in the consortium 23 cities, up from 6 at the beginning. So this is a very fast growing consortium. And we are delighted to have as a latest addition the city of Kyiv, who is here with us today for a special contribution. As you know, as you have seen, we have a fantastic lineup for today's program. We will start with the Deputy Mayor and the CIO of the city of Kyiv, joining us live from Kyiv, Petro Olenych and Oleg Polovynko. They will kick off the discussion. They will tell us how the city is coping with war and how they are using technology to keep their citizens safe. After that, my colleague Chris Amita will present the key data and the new findings from the State of UserCentriCities report, which has just been published on the UserCentriCities website, which is the summary analysis of the results of the dashboard, the online dashboard that is available online on the UserCentriCities website. You can access the dashboard and you can download the report on the website. After this presentation, we have a fantastic all-star panel to discuss the findings. We have Markku Markkula, Vice President of the Committee of the Region and President of the Helsinki region. We have Roberta Cocco, Chair of the Advisory Committee for the Digital Innovation Ministry in Italy, and Eddy Hartog, Head of Unit of the Technologies for Smart Communities Unit at the European Commission, DG Connect. This is a very interactive webinar. We have some great people in the audience. Many of you in the audience could actually be keynoting this. So please do use the chat function to pose questions or comments. We will keep track of this and we will come back to you in the discussion or raise the question in the discussion. We have a space for discussion, but as you can see, the agenda is very packed. We are also recording this and we are posting this on the UserCentriCities website. So we actually encourage you to open your camera, but if you don't want to appear in the recording, just switch off the camera. So I want to start, it's a very special day for us today, having the city of Kyiv, and I want to start with a key concept. You know, user-centricity seems like a really geeky concept, but it's not. It's crucial and it's a fundamental value. It's about helping citizens, especially in times of crisis. And we have now been working for 2 years on user-centricity, and you can really feel how the cities really embody this fundamental principle and value of helping cities, and no one more than the city of Kyiv here with us today. It's an honor and a privilege to have you here with us, Petro and Oleg, and to have Kyiv as a partner in UserCentriCities. You are an example, you are an inspiration. And let me quote President von der Leyen. She said in the State of the Union, "Our union is not complete without you." The floor is yours, and I welcome your presentation. But first of all, tell us, how are you? How is the situation in Kyiv today? Welcome.
Hello. Hello to everyone. I am Petro Olenych, Deputy Mayor of Kyiv, Vitaly Klitschko, and I am responsible for digitalization and digital transformation. It's an honor for me to participate in this conference. With all cities, with some of them we already have friendship and partner connections. Thank you for having us, especially now, when part of our country is occupied, and Kyiv city with more than 3 million cities now is under attack literally every day. Last missile attack we have 2 days, 1 day ago, today ago, and but this is our war for values, for European values. For smart city, it is possible and vital to be user-centric, especially under missile attack, when it all comes to down to survival. And we're ready to share our story of building resilience. This experience is relevant for any kind of disruption that cities are facing now, including pandemics, natural disasters, social and war conflicts. Again, thank you for your support. Let us together create stronger and safer future for all. Slava Ukraini.
Thank you very much, Petro. We fully share your words, and we are delighted to have you in the project, and we look forward to learning from your initiatives in the future activities of the project. Oleg, would you like to come in?
I have presentation.
Yeah, thank you, colleagues. And first of all, we are glad that we can be participating in such wonderful projects, which based on values what we are supporting in our work and in Kyiv when we're building our solution. Ukraine now it's on forepost of Eastern Europe, and we are likely and happy that now we are participating with the countries and the cities who support the values of the freedom of personal rights. Before the active stage of the war, we already had a very good performance in digitalization, which helping us to perform in smart city indexes, and that was the project of the DIA, which is like where was Ukraine was like the pioneer and trying the electronic documents based in one application, which can be shareable with any other services. And now there is more than 17 million of Ukrainians using these applications. And as I know, several European countries already accept these documents, and this is what came from Ukraine, and this helps us on the city level to be preparing to identification. It's based level of security, and digital ID give the perfect punch for a lot of any other smart city services. And of course, after 24 February, that was like, you know, very good stress test, but good, it's not right word, but for that was good test for all of us, and not only for us. We faced the challenges what previously we thought about this risk, we trying to preparing for this risk, but in that moment we faced the challenge that how to survive in the city, what to do in work conditions. That was questions from the citizens, and in this moment we still was focused on the citizen, on their comfort or communication with them. So we are solving the task and explaining how to make the mass evacuation from the city, how to inform the citizens, what instructions they need, and challenges of the different type of attacks, what we have, and when it ends. I know that a lot of cities now in Europe tested the missile alert systems. By the way, try to understand from the user side how they understand when it's finished. It's open question, and it's not so easy. from our experience. And of course, we see that the challenge of the fakes, of social messengers, manipulations through the groups, deep fakes. So the trustable resource of communication from the national and from local authorities, that was our challenge, and we faced to it. And from the authority side, we have the panic, the massive evacuations, which stop our traffics, network and services, disasters, of course, cyber attacks. So all this was the challenge. And that experience, what we can share, that we have Kyiv Digital on the city level and the DIA on the national level. That was the application and the platform which help us trustfully communicate with our citizens, to be more flexible with them, and in short communication, give the right information, trustable information in trustable way. And we increased a lot of services, and that what in the world where not only the war, the epidemic, the national disasters, all these points will be needed such kind of solutions. So we are open and first of all thankful to you that having us in European family, and we will be glad to share our experience. And of course, to all the cities and all countries, we are thank you for support Ukraine in such hard times for our country. So thank you that having us in this project.
Well, I cannot thank you enough from our side for what you are doing, because you're doing it for all of us. And by the way, you mentioned the importance of trust. And, you know, we work in digital government, and we always use this word, which seems sometimes a bit abstract, but actually trust is not just fundamental for our democracies and for the life of every citizen and every government in Europe. It is crucial in times of crisis and in times of war. And that is actually one of the big lessons learned from this, is the importance of the spirit of a people in a war. So thank you very much. It's amazing what you have shown us and the level of sophistication. We look forward to learning from you more. Just a minor point of information, but we will welcome a much more extended presentation by Oleg and Petro in Barcelona on the 15th of November. And here we will really focus in depth on all that you are doing. Thank you very much. Now, yeah, it's a bit cold online, but still you can feel that it's heartfelt. Listen, let's move on. We have plenty of discussion, and we have to focus on the content, because this is what we do. We double down on work in times of crisis. Krisa will present the State of UserCentriCities, which, by the way, includes data from Kyiv. Krisa, the floor is yours.
Thank you, David. Let me show my screen. As David said, allow me to present the 2022 edition of the State of UserCentriCities report, which launches today. The report offers an in-depth analysis of the state of citizen-centric digital public services in 13 leading European cities and regions. We have collected data from those cities and regions, and we are also, of course, more than delighted that Kyiv is also included. The report analyzes the data gathered by the UserCentriCities Dashboard, which is an online tool that tracks the performance of local authorities in its citizen-centric digital services. So the data are gathered in co-creation. The data and the indicators were developed in co-creation with the municipalities, and the sort of inspiration and the basis for that was the revised version of the talent declaration on e-government, which the consortium has revised to address the needs of the local sector. The dashboard includes 39 indicators that were answered with yes or no or not applicable, and it's separated in three main pillars. So this is the dashboard, how the dashboard looks now. It's online. You can access it on this link. It uses a traffic light system to intuitively present the results. And as I said, it is separated in three main pillars that are enablers, performance, and outcomes. By clicking on each of the entries of on the city names, you will be able to see all the data gathered by each city, how the city answered the questionnaire, and also more information not only about the performance of each city, but also how they are actually reaching this performance. Now let's dive into the main results of the report and of course of the dashboard. As I said, we have three main pillars. The first pillar, which I will start with, is enablers, sort of the enabling factors of user-centricities, where we track progress when it comes to skills, strategies, and ecosystem. As you can see, the score in skills is quite high, but in terms of strategies, while the majority of local authorities have the right strategies in place, many of them have also created guidelines for user-centricity. We see a widespread lack of monitoring and enforcement tools to actually ensure the enforcement of those guidelines. In terms of ecosystem, the score is also quite high with 85%. And here below you can see an example, for example, from Rotterdam. This is how they answered a question. One of the indicators, which is about guidelines they give. When a city answers one of the indicators with yes, they are obliged to include the evidence. And here you can see an example of Rotterdam adding the evidence to support their positive answer. Now, in terms of co-creation and in terms of performance, so now I move to the next pillar, which is performance, the actual performance in user-centricity. The first sub-pillar, the first area we explored was co-creation, and here the results show that co-creation actually doesn't have the right, the position it deserves when it comes to user-centric digital government, almost all across all the cities and regions that were surveyed. The supply of online services is also not much advanced, and while cities do have, most of the cities have mobile applications, not all of them offer online services fully, the majority of their services online. And also we have also found that progress in proactive services is also quite slow. Continuing with performance, we surveyed security and privacy. We see that's taken quite seriously, as well as the redress and feedback mechanisms that are available to citizens. The third pillar that we have that compromises the dashboard is the outcome. Outcome has to do with how cities and regions are measuring the impact of their digital services. There is a quite widespread lack of interest in measuring the impact of user-centric digital services. Maybe the only sub-pillar that where we saw that a lot of progress was made was satisfaction. But when it comes to reduction of burden, environmental impact, and the time savings, the measurement of time savings and budget savings, cities and regions don't show that much interest. Below is another example of an answer by ESPO that was supported with evidence. So this is a very quick overview of the results. If you would like to dive into more on not only how the cities and regions in Europe are interested, but also how They do it with all the examples that they provide in the evidence. I invite you to read the full report, which you can download in the UserCentriCities website as of today, and which most of you have already received it by email this morning. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Krista. As you can see, we had to condensate a wealth of results in 5 minutes to give you a glimpse of what's in, but we have the dashboard and we have the report for the full results. You can see a very granular level, the result for every single municipality, and feel free to browse it and ask any question that you wish. Now, let's move on to the panel. We have a great panel here to discuss these findings. We have, as I mentioned, Markku Markkula, Roberta Cocco, and Eddy Hartog. Markku, I would like to start with you also because you are now the rapporteur for the new innovation agenda of the European Union for the Committee of the Regions. So, what's your take on this?
Okay, now the mic is open. So thank you first of all for Lisbon Council to organizing not just this event but the whole dashboard. So it's very important that we share our experiences, and it's not just the data, but it's more like a bench learning. So we learn with the others, and the results can be much used. So like now in my own city Espoo, we can now analyze with a smaller group of people the results where we stand as a city compared to some of the others, and then we can, of course, we can contact the others. And this is I take 2 general remarks here. First, that when this is the Europe's digital decade, so it sets out a vision for what we can call a value-based user-centric digital transformation, and that is especially then an enabler for Green Deal and other EU objectives. So green and digital, they go hand in hand. It's twinning. The other major, what you, David, already mentioned, so it's the link with the new European Innovation Agenda, which was published in July. And that is, let's say, requesting us everywhere to go much deeper on innovation, but as well on a broader scale, so that we talk more and more about societal innovation, so integrating different disciplines, real-life practices, and stronger role of citizens, but as well industry, large companies, but as well a lot of small startups, which are hopefully moving more and more to growth companies. And that is one of the issues, so that we need these companies to grow in Europe, take the best new developments in active use. And on all this, so what happens at the city level, that is crucial. City's role is very much a platform for this new kind of development. In my city, we even call that our Espoo, our kind of services. All our development is based on what we call city as a service model, where the whole city community, so not only civil servants, not only politicians, but all companies, industries, schools, kindergartens, research centers, all are part of the city community. And on this, so that we focus more and more, so that digitalized processes, we develop the processes, but they are immediately digitalized, so they provide a lot of more opportunities for whoever to use the data. And in the city strategy approved a year ago, the council stressed heavily that in developing further on this city as a service model, we need to take full use of ICT, robotics, artificial intelligence, and other technologies throughout our work. And this helps, this brings the digitalization as a core of this transformation. And let me say just a couple of the examples from different parts. So first, that already 20 years ago, in the parliament. I was a member of parliament at that time. So when we introduced the new law for libraries, so libraries always been very crucial in Finland, and libraries are like living rooms, but not only books and other information. And we introduced by the parliament as part of the law, so that the role of libraries is as well support, assist people using the digitalized services. So that's one element. The other element that I want to highlight is that actually all political parties work together in whole Finland. We produced a new kind of handbook helping all kinds of cities or municipalities, small municipalities as well. So how to move on, how to process further on with the digitalization. What does that mean? Kind of multi-level governance, what that requires on the political decision maker level, at the mayor's level, but as well with experts, but all different civil servants and citizens. And this is really crucial. And let me just highlight that, having a quick look at the dashboard. So we immediately saw that our city, Espoo, we are very good in ecosystems, in security and privacy, as well as citizens' readiness and the feedback mechanism. So these kind of things are very crucial, but there's as well a lot to learn and update this, because always when you give the data like this, so we should actually have a quite large group of people, and in our case as well, we want to integrate that kind of activity to where we can be more innovative, where we can take the EU innovation agenda in active use, help the others as well. So it's sharing knowledge, sharing experiences, and working more and more together. So I think these are the key messages that I have. So this is really crucial. And with this kind of dashboard where we can update the information, so it's kind of online data all the time, and the future will be more and more evidence-based policy making, data-based decisions, and data-based data-assisted processes. Thank you.
This is amazing. We couldn't have hoped for a better start of the discussion. And thank you for digging so deeply in the data. I just want to show with to share with people what you have been talking about. So we see Espoo on ecosystem, and you were talking about the importance of startups. What we see is that Espoo offers 20 open API and then organize hackathons here, as utilize public procurements for innovation, and you can see really directly what Markku was talking about. So feel free to play, all of you, with the dashboard. There are plenty of gems really to be found in it. By the way, we are updating it. There will be a second release next year, so stay tuned. It is not just a measurement tool, it is also a learning tool. And with this, yes.
David, I just stress that it's important that you add a lot of links, like there were some junction events or hackathons, and so that it's hard to find from this huge flow of knowledge and information. But when we take the information in active use, so then you start contacting with the people as well.
Yes, that's great. And as you see, it's really about not just measuring, but also about learning. But I have a confession to make. This is not just our work. There is someone at the origin of all this, someone who is now going to speak. Roberta, when we first met in 2018, told us, what did you tell us about data indicator? And anyway, Roberta, when she was the deputy mayor of Milan, was really at the root of user-centricity. Basically, it was her questions to us that led us to develop user-centricity. Roberta, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you, David, and thank you to the Lisbon Council and partners for this invitation. It's a real honor to be in this panel and to be with such outstanding speakers. So thank you very much. So my obsession about data is from the very beginning. When I was appointed as Deputy Mayor for Digital Transformation of the Municipality of Milan, I found so many scattered data around the city, a lot of them, but there was not an interoperable project to transform those data into power, real value for us, for taking decision, for understanding reality. So, innovative processes, in my opinion, require an ecosystem capable of collecting data in objective criteria. I am saying this because having worked as a deputy mayor, so working in a city, and cities, as many other speakers told before, cities have the necessity to offer services every day to citizens, just facing issues and any kind of needs. But citizens have their own view about what they need. Policymakers, on the other side, have their own priorities depending on many, many different factors. The only way to balance citizens' perspective and policymaking and government's perspective is leveraging data. Leveraging data not only from the public perspective, but also the tons of data that, for example, private sector is sharing openly. And so, in my personal opinion, data is the most important tool to read, to understand, to study, to predict, to manage reality in an objective way. So trying to use data as a tool, as an enabler to balance different needs, which maybe are all important, but you have to prioritize. When you have to take decision, especially harder decision, you need something to help you to prioritize, not only in your personal view, but just to have something that help you in getting this decision. So in my opinion, data is the most powerful ally especially for city leaders. And I strongly believe that city tracking as the tool that the Lisbon Council is offering us is very important, because we have the DESI, which is at European level a very good overview, and it's an amazing tool. But in city, you have every day different needs, different urgencies. And so to build and share and leverage European dashboards at city level is something that is incredibly useful and urgent. Measuring progress and comparing results will improve policies and decision-making. I do not consider this tracking as a beauty contest or a race. I really don't care about that. It's something that helps us in understanding where we have to focus. In my experience, I have learned a lot from other cities, from Barcelona, from Tallinn, from Helsinki, from London, just comparing our data, just trying to select which were the most urgent needs. And a last comment is, we have to build all this, but we also have to keep in mind that we have to train citizens about data, the usage of data, how they can improve their connection to governments, if they can use these tools. I was touched by the app that Oleg showed. We developed something similar, the Citizen Digital Folder in Municipality of Milan, and we were very lucky because we had to use that only for certificates. And to see that these kind of digital tools might be very important also in crisis time is another proof that we have to work on digital. From Italian side, I'm happy that it's part of this network, Regione Emilia-Romagna, Emilia-Romagna region, and they are developing what they call DESIER, which is a kind of indicator to bring data, part of data at municipal level. So it's very, very important that we put all our efforts together to have a better tool that help all of us to take the right decision. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Roberta, for these inspiring words. I want to underline that we see this really as a service to cities to learn and to improve. And actually, in the second part of the report, there are dedicated city profiles where you can see the strength and the weakness. For instance, the city of Milan is strong a little bit across the board, very strong, in particular on impact. It's one of the few that measures the administrative burden reduction and the environmental impact. On the downside, it only employs 5 service designers compared to the 20 of Rotterdam. So this kind of insight is what you get out of this. And I want to stress also that we don't want to build the single indicator or index. We work a lot with all the other initiatives. By the way, Emilia-Romagna is obviously a partner, and not only an active partner, but they actually applied understand to all the municipalities of Emilia-Romagna. So we have a very granular view of what's going on there. And we work a lot also with the European Commission, with the ESCOM program on the local DESI, the so-called LORDI indicators. This is, if we start competing, then we all lose. So cooperation is the key word in this. And we work, by the way, the project UserCentriCities also work very closely with the OECD, who I see here today very much present, on another service, which is the Service Design Toolkit, which works together with the OPSI Observatory of the OECD. So absolutely, let's not fragment, let's federate and collaborate as much as possible. And thank you for all your work and your inspiration during all these years. Okay, well, last but not least, Eddy, I don't see you now. Oh, here you are. Well, you have seen how European cities are really amazing, and you have a great job. So tell us about what you do, what you are doing to help European cities, members of the European Union, or future members of the European Union, like Kyiv.
Thanks a lot, David, that I can be here. And I just have to give a summary of the previous speakers, and that's it, basically. I mean, my first point would have been to say that this concept of user-centric cities is actually getting track. It's not only your organization that mentions it, but you see it in every single seminar, to put the citizen first. And Markku mentioned the city as a service. You have been to a lot of presentations of the 50-minute city. There's a lot of things where we say, like, this is not to amuse ourselves as digitally minded people on these things. So I think it's getting track, and your report actually gives that a lot of meaning as well, and concrete results. I mean, I like it was very short in the presentation, obviously, but I had the chance to read the report this morning, and it is actually quite powerful. And as Markku rightly said, it needs to be almost a platform for which you go to all the examples and where we go. So I think it's very powerful what you have done. And there's one topic that came across already that I want to emphasize, and that is actually the importance of measuring. The fact that you have a dashboard allows you to have a conversation. The exchange of experiences, the replication and all these things, they only go a certain way. And I think it's for political leaders good to know where they are and then where they can improve. And where you are is not a judgment. It is really about learning and how can we improve this. And that, as you know, David, and you refer to it, is also at the heart of what the European Union mayors want to do in the Living in .eu movement. We decided to come from this away from this project-based approach, but really to develop this common vision as to where we would like to go as mayors in the European Union. And I come to where we go next, and there's a couple of things, developments there. But there's 2 points that are actually that both the speakers mentioned that are at the heart. First of all, is this measuring? You mentioned it already, David, that we are actually, it started off being called the local DESI. The problem with local DESI is that the perception cost of all the information we have at national level, at local level, would be so high that, you know, we will not be able to measure that. So you need to find a simple system, not only to benchmark the bigger cities, but I would like to benchmark all the 86,000 municipalities in the European Union. Now you can see that that level of ambition is high. For that, the system needs to be simple. But, and Roberta made that point about data, and I call this always the engine room, because we often like to talk about the visual things. And most of the time with the politicians, we like to say we have 5G and extra cables because you can cut a ribbon and, you know, it's nice. Or I developed a new app on mobile parking or CO2. But what we miss is the engine room to bring all of these things together. And I think the example from the Ukraine on I was going to say the digital wallet, but the identity wallet is a powerful one. But what do you need it for? You know, how does it link to all the other applications? Because if you send and the others can't receive it, you have a problem. Hence the emphasis in the digital decade policy on the data spaces. And you won't see it in any official document, but we're going to do it anyway. We are developing a blueprint for local data spaces where people can learn from each other. We also would like to visualize that, because Roberto, as a political leader, is maybe an exception in understanding the data, but most mayors are not interested in the data. They're interested in visualizing. So we said, well, let's visualize that through a local digital twin. Let's work on that toolbox together to actually make that work, similarities. And of course, coming back to the EU values that were mentioned, that means EU values about ethical use of AI. That means not locking yourself into, let's say, big play vendors. Those sort of things are important to us. So it's really that importance of the engine room that I want to emphasize this morning, where also your report will help us. Now, what will happen next? This doesn't come from the European Commission, but I'm allowed to be the spokesperson, if you like, on this. But the movement now has a project that supports them and allows them to do some work. And they indicated in the project that they would like to really organize a mayor's digital assembly. Can you visualize this? 86,000 EU mayors in one digital room, where now they won't talk about the technical stuff, but really the political vision of where they would like to go, not only with their cities, but also of their villages. The Living in .eu movement recently signed up a mayor of a village of 500 people. It's also for those that we do this sort of work. And also there, if you live in a village and if you are user-centric, that village is your life, not Amsterdam or Brussels or whatever. And I think that's important to reason. So we will have the Mayor's Digital Assembly. There will be an Interoperable Europe Act from the colleagues from Digit, also to bring these things together, particularly if we have cross-border things. The dashboard I mentioned, the statistic, Lordy is always a bit technical and people don't relate to it, but to have the local maturity assessment so that you can actually understand where you are as a municipality. We will develop that. The governance will be beefed up. And I'm even trying to see with some member states whether we can have a legal vehicle with which we can do co-investments. So that is the main message for today, but I would like to make one comment on a little presentation that I was allowed to do for the EU-Ukraine policy hub in Brussels just an hour ago, where we actually also reached out to municipalities in the Ukraine and said to them, with this vision that we have, you are invited. Yes, signing a declaration is an EU policy thing, so that's from there. But we would like, and I'm inviting the Ukrainian colleagues to on this, and I'll put the link in the chat, to also be the supporter of this, because I've seen many European cities and municipalities wanting to work with you already now in these digital transformation. And working with you is not sending, it's also seeing the wonderful things that are happening already in the Ukraine, but also to make sure that we rebuild the country when all of this is over in 6 months' time, and we have the country back in a proper digital fashion as brothers in this whole process. So thanks again, Dave, for giving me the opportunity to speak to you. And I hope really that we can make this a joint effort from the local level.
Thank you very much, Eddy. Absolutely. And count on us to help as much as we can. We really believe in federating effort. What we see is that a lot of people are working on similar issues. We have here today with us the OECD too. We have an national initiative to measure. We actually linked up with Deputy Minister Yanon in Ukraine. And one of the role of the Chief Digital Transformation Officer is exactly to implement a measurement strategy within Ukraine. So we are working also with to compare methodologies to make sure that these are as comparable as possible. And this really requires an effort of goodwill, but also an effort of humility from all institutional level. No one has it right. We all need to work together and to find compromise. Comparable data are, it's about network effect. Comparable data are, look at Facebook, look at social media, look at YouTube, network effects scale dramatically in value. If we can have comparable indicators, it's actually more important than having the perfect indicator, which is sometimes very difficult to have. So this is the work that we are doing with all of you. And actually, I welcome also the intervention of users of this tool. We have in the room many of our partners, so I invite them to join in and give their perspective. I just want to mention that a specific role in attracting small municipalities played by the regions. We have 3 regions in the project. They are all participate, they are all available in the dashboard, but they don't just work on the dashboard as an organization. They also help with the dashboard as a territory. So the Emilia-Romagna region had many of its municipalities to fill in the dashboard. It wasn't because of language problem. We couldn't reach the quality level sufficient to use it and to publish it in the online dashboard. We missed some evidence and details, but we do have the measurement in terms of binary indicators. You can see it in the report. The Catalonia region, we have here today with us, for instance, the Mataró, we have Barcelona, so we have several cities, also a smaller city like Mataró, or we have Gavà. So it's crucial that we do involvement. By the way, as an anecdote, typically in terms of performance, they are not too, they don't perform too badly. But in terms of enablers, you see the difference with the large city in terms of internal skills, in terms of strategy, in terms of tools. So I open the floor to any intervention. Welcome. I see that there is already one intervention from the OECD, Nick Thess. I don't know if you want to say something, if you're still online, because your intervention was pretty much at the beginning. Nick Thess.
Yes. Hey, David. Hey, colleagues. I will also switch on my my camera. Well, first of all, thanks for the invitation, and thanks for the I think the great event and what you have shared already in the chat with the nice dashboards really invites to dig much deeper. Well, I made my first intervention on the intervention of the colleagues from Ukraine, the colleagues from Kyiv, just saying and posting that in supporting the Ukraine efforts, we also have been doing some work more broadly, not only focusing on the municipal level, but more broadly in documenting this historical moment from the side of service delivery, administrative service delivery, and also digital. And I think there is a lot of, well, unfortunately, I would say, lessons to be learned from these events. But by documenting this, and I shared the link to this policy brief that we did, but we have done many others, hoping that we can contribute this for many others. Besides this, I think the importance of the, well, user centricity, as many of the speakers have mentioned, I think this is really a cornerstone and key. So also there we have been and are doing quite some work with all our countries, and our countries are well, mostly countries at the borders of the EU. So we are working with countries in the Eastern Partnership, but also in the Western Balkans. And I think there, I think from the work that you're doing with many of the EU cities. I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned, not as this was said by Roberta, to make it like a contest and a ranking, but really from this angle of, well, by demonstrating how things work, also showing this to others, what they can take from this. So I think this is really should be, and hopefully really inspiring to many others. And if we from our side can contribute to this in disseminating this learning, I'm really, really happy to do this. So thank you so much, colleagues, for, I would say, this really rich and inspiring moment. And it will not be the last time that we'll contribute in this. So thanks again.
This is only the beginning. Absolutely. Thank you very much. I would like to get back to the speakers now for a final round of comments. We have had a lot of interventions, very condensed, and we don't have much time. But, you know, we can go maybe in the order that you intervene, because you've been silent for a long time. Oleg and Petro, I don't know if you have some concluding remarks. What do you take out of this, and how can we help? Can you wait a second, Petro, that we unmute you?
Yeah, it's not was possible to unmute. Thank you for such a good initiative. I am already heard a lot of valuable things from participants. Thank you to Eddy, to Roberta. It's an important thing, and we are glad that we are part of this project, and we will be good participation, and we want to perform thanks to data and to digitalization, because we already see how digitalization and the initiative of our Minister of Digitalization helps us now to be flexible, to move a lot of processes much faster. So this is our value, and we are glad to be part of this project. Thank you.
Fantastic. And with no one more than with you, this is only the beginning, really. We look forward to our collaboration in the years to come. Petro, I don't know if you managed to unmute yourself, or if you want to say something.
No.
Okay.
No,
thanks for being here. Markku, what do you take out for this?
Just to be focused. So first, that in Espoo as well, so we are moving now in a way our digital agenda to the 3.0, launching that the operations next year. We have documented actually very much on how these transformations move on, and that's something that we should share. And there I refer to when I was the Committee of the Region President, we launched several joint initiatives with the Commission, and one was really digitalizing cities, where we had cities, several from different parts of Europe, learning with each other. So this bench learning is crucial. And I was very disappointed when the Commission announced that we don't take Espoo to that. So because he said that Espoo is already too advanced. But then we jointly created a category of mentoring cities, and not only Espoo, but several of the others. And I think this is really, we need to take the levels into account and collaborate that way. And this is my message, and with the Eddy as well. So we've worked a lot so together with Committee of the Regions and DG Connect, and so how to move on this living in EU issue, and so to take the citizens and as I said in my statement, so different communities of practice, because everyone has their own interest, and we need to this diversity, European diversity, but inside every city or municipality, small or large. And that makes a lot of sense. And this is why with this kind of dashboard activity is good. But we will meet with Eddy as well next week. We have a special broadband platform meeting in Brussels next Wednesday. So we will talk a bit about how to move to the next phases of that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Roberto, before we move to you, I see that there is an intervention from Stefano from Emilia-Romagna. Wait a second. Takes a little moment to give you the floor. Yes.
Okay, thank you, David. Thank you to everybody, and congratulations for your interventions. Really, really very interesting. And I want to tell you that we have a new project in Emilia-Romagna. Our new project is called DAISY. That stands for Daisy Emilia-Romagna, and as you can guess, it's the local version of DAISY. We collected 60 indicators from our 330 municipalities in our region, and then we made a dashboard with the data we collected. The 60 indicators are divided in 4 main topics, like the European DAISY, so human capability, connectivity, integration of technology, and digital public services. That is probably the most interesting dimension for us. We made a publication with this information, but we also, as I said, we also made a dashboard. I can give you the link for the dashboard, and so you can see it. I'm sorry, it's in Italian, but if you need any help, we are here, we can help you, of course. And that's it. I think it's quite interesting because we collected a lot of information and we are learning a lot of things about our territory. We can find problems, we can find the best practice, our municipality can find themselves the best practice, and so they are able to improve their situation. Our tools measure the actual situation of the municipality, but of course will record the improvement in the following years.
Excellent.
Thanks again.
Thank you very much. And you can see really the drive towards measurement and the integration between user-centricities and these local initiatives is crucial. Roberta.
Yes, just one final comment, the importance of trust. We have all spoken about data and the relationship with citizens and so on. Again, I was touched by the words from Oleg and Petro. I think that data also help us to build or rebuild the trust towards citizens, because we can, fight fake news. We can offer citizens the view, the real view. And I think that with all what we have just said, also building of trust is a very good result for a high level usage of data and the comparison among different measurements.
Thank you very much, Roberta, and we look forward to seeing where you land the next. You really are a force of nature everywhere. So, Eddy, a few words from you again. Yeah. What do you take out of this, and how can we help?
Thanks a lot, David. I think what I take out of it is really that we are on this journey together. I mean, the movement that started 2-3 years ago. We're now continuing. Markku mentioned the conversation we will have with the Committee of the Regions, but this is going to be in various moments, and it's really nice to see all these organizations joining up. So I will finish with that call on all of you that plan to visit the World Congress for Smart Cities in Barcelona, to actually pop into the European Commission stand as well, where I think UserCities has one important slot as well to have a very important discussion as well. But it's really at those moments that we continue the discussions, the learning from each other, and I can only encourage all of you to be part of that. I very much enjoy the energy that I get from meetings like this and meetings like I've had a couple of over the last couple of weeks. So thanks for hosting this, and let's go on that journey together.
Absolutely. And as we said, this is just the beginning. We have much more to come. We will meet first on the 11th of November in Milan during the Milan Digital Week. We'll meet again on the 15th of November in Barcelona for the Digital Summit, for the UserCentriCities Summit in the Smart City Expo. We will there launch the new policy brief on human-centric digital services, which focuses on proactive service delivery, and we will have Oleg and Petro in person to tell us about the story of Kyiv and go much more in depth than we have been today. And then we have next year, and next year is the final year of UserCentriCities. We relaunch the dashboard with second session looking at the progress and new indicator. We have, you will see on the website, we have a repository of digital service and an award for the best digital services, which Helsinki won this year with a proactive service for pre-registration at childcare. And we have a service design toolkit, which has just been launched in collaboration with the OECD. You can see all this on the website. This is just to say there are plenty of opportunities ahead, and we look forward to working with all of you and welcome Kyiv in the UserCentricity family. We really look forward to working with you. Thank you very much. I think with this, we stop. As usual, we want to stop on time, and as usual, we are always too short, and we love that. We love being too short, and we look forward to meeting you again with some new exciting collaborations. Thank you very much, and congratulations.